So I'm going through some book notes, and that's when I realized that penis size would be part of my conversation within the book of Lay Girls. Well, it turns out in this video that I'm making, the lights have gone on. These are great lights, by the way. Full spectrum. Go to lightbulbs.com. Now I have a 25-watt bulb in there. These are really good. They're wonderful for people who get seasonally affected depression. They get sad. So what's sad also is that, yes, some guys do have small dicks, but the other part about that is that they have some of them less passion. It's not really about the small dick. It's about, can that man pleasure that woman and love her? And also compatibility, right? Size does matter. And that goes for you women too. So if you look at the Kama Sutra, K-A-M-A Sutra, it was interpreted in like 1888 by some English guy. Now the English destroyed India. However, they have people within the English society who aren't the government. People don't realize that, like, Americans aren't representative of their government. So anyway, England as a country, as a kingdom, destroyed India. But what I'm saying is that some English bloke had the wherewithal to learn the language in order to interpret the ancient texts into English. So, men were divided into 3 categories, according to the size of their genitalia. This includes the penis, the balls, the width, the girth, but also the erection strength. So the first one is Hare, H-A-R-E, like rabbit size. Now think of a rabbit. They go da-da-da-da-da-da, and then done. That's pretty accurate for guys that I have been with small penises. That's what they need to overcome. The next one for men is the bull. And that's my preferred category. And then the one after that is the horse. I couldn't do a horseman. His trident would not fit in my beauty parts. So, for women, yeah. The first one is a deer, like a doe caught in headlights. I gotta tell you, first let's stay on track, shall we? Deer's the first one, mare's the second, and this is according to depth. But I gotta tell you, it also has to do with girth, width. And there's also this. Every woman's organ is at a different angle. My sister's gynecologist told her something different than my gynecologist told me. And we compared notes when we were having our babies. And it was like, they said this was that. And like after you give birth, they like put their finger in there. Like, here they are. They're putting their hand into your jewel, like you're laying on your back, your legs are in stirrups, and they're fingering you. And they like put some pressure on it. And then you bear down, and they're like, you need to do your Kegels, because you're trying to get the pelvic floor strengthened. That is key to an orgasm for women, for internally. Plus the motion of the ocean, plus a non-circumcised male. But if you can't have one of those, because we all know generations upon generations of women in America are snow-jobbed into thinking that's the right thing to do. I'm not going to go into it. It's barbaric. And don't feel bad if your mother and father, or your father, made sure that occurred. That was the one thing I got my way on. My son was going to be natural, because the skin actually ends up massaging the clitoris, so the girl is getting a G-spot rub and a clitoral massage at the same time. The pleasure of an uncircumcised, I call them natural, not uncircumcised. The pleasure of a non-circumcised male is incredible. And that would be the saving grace to the Hare man, Hare man. So that he could be with his dear woman and spend more time making love to her. So, okay, yes, I've seen a really small penis. The guy warned me first, and it's in my chapter in Lay Girls, because it was in that time period that I was introduced to the idea that there really is one. Because all I had seen was regular size, according to the Kama Sutra, regular size bulls. But see, even there they have different, like fingertips. Look at everybody's fingertips. We all have different fingertips and thumb tips. There's different dick tips. Now there's a tip. So yeah, and vaginas are all different, okay? Like, they're all different. They don't look like the anatomy book. Mine didn't. My mom's like, here, have this anatomy book. Go into the bathroom and take this mirror too and put it between your legs and take a look at your body and identify your parts. I had a hymen, it turns out. And I said this in a prior video, and it's in the book as well, is that I found out later, after the fact, okay? Because I asked. Finally I asked. My grandmother on my father's side and married my paternal grandfather, my dad's dad, well before I was born, you know. And on their honeymoon, he took her to the doctor to have that thing cut open. Now that's trauma to the female, because obviously he was well endowed. And he wasn't ready to spend another second, because there is a way to get that thing open, my friend. And he must not have tried hard enough. That's like, grandfather, if you're listening to this, it took my first boyfriend 45 minutes just to get it in. And by then I wasn't in the mood. This is in high school. I picked a certain guy to deflower me because I wanted to be able to have confidence. You know, I didn't have any dreams of grandeur, of being pure and a debutante and married to somebody. I was like, I'm going to find out what sex is all about, because if I want to be able to express my love to a guy or my lust, but in my case when I was younger, I didn't think lust, it was all love. If I was attracted to somebody, it was love. It wasn't lust. It didn't become lust until I was older. When I was young, it was love. And my first time, he would have been considered smaller than my current partner, bigger than I could handle, in girth and in length. So even within categories or subcategories, there's like the hair, the big hair, the medium hair, the little hair, the whoopsie-doopsie hair, right? So you take categories and you put categories upon categories. So I would say amongst the hair, what I have seen, a hair size for men, Hare, is that there are three. There's like really winky, dinky, winky, and then medium, and then impotent. It doesn't matter what he used to be able to achieve. A man's penis size changes with his mood. It's like the barometer of a man. Isn't that funny? Yeah, the next size up bull. I'm sure there's 3 different categories within that category. And then the men aren't elephants, but an elephant trunk came out just like the horseman I saw. Just this guy just let this dick out. It just dropped and dropped. And he wasn't going like this, like a lot of guys. Or he was going... and his eyes were falling back. It was freaky. And we had mechanisms in the booth, so I'm plugging my book, like Girls, and I'm Kat Woodland, Woodland, on Patreon. So I'm going to have different tiers. I'm still working it out, what those are. I'm not really, I am devoted to my guys, so even though I'm talking about sex, I want it to be known straight out of the gate that I'm not going to be doing one-on-one erotic shows like I did when I was at like Girls, because that's not my joy. I'm not going to do that. I will talk about, I will figure it out as I go along, but I'll be, certain tiers will have access to MP3 files, whereas my voice only. I haven't gone that far into the movie making capabilities that exist, video making with YouTube's editor, because I haven't really been interested in the way they do things. I do like the idea of doing a full yoga session or an erotic dance, and then having that be a class, and then picking music. But I'm trying to figure out how Patreon works with YouTube. I think they're compatible. And a subject different than dick size and the Kama Sutra is, what happens if that whole December 10th announcement was to see how many fleas would jump off YouTube and where they would go? Because consumers are really considered test subjects. So who's going to jump off and go to BitChute? Okay, BitChute is really good for people who have podcasts and already have successful video stations on YouTube. And then I've noticed Patreon, your patron of the arts, Patreon, that one's really good for, I'm changing my format from, well, I'm a writer, so I'm plugging my book. So YouTube is now becoming, hey, I'd love for you to go to Patreon, but in the meantime, I'm still going to be making these videos. But the dance videos I used to do, I'm going to make that for Patreon people only. And we're going to dance to, like, the Tube, She's a Beauty, because that's the song for the book, even though that wasn't the song that I danced to first, which I'm not telling. That's proprietary. The first song I danced to, and then the part Bachelor Party Gone Bad, and the first song I danced to at Daddy Jack's would be a segue into that book, plus Indian Joe. So I became a shaman's apprentice at the end of the first book. So we will be reintroducing more than just penis size. It's also shamanism. And I had sex with him, okay? He must have been 65, 70. I don't know what it was. But he was uncircumcised, meaning natural. And our relationship ended because of it. Because he made it part of the deal. And of him teaching me, it was that I would allow him access to my body sexually whenever he wanted. After he had 2 goes of it, the first time I was like, I get it now. I understand the whole mechanics of a natural male massaging me. He wasn't that hard at that point because he's 65, 70, but he's with me, and I'm like 50, I'm 40 years younger than him. And was it pleasurable? No, but it was like, it was out of respect. At that time, he put it away to me that I understood, and I was eager to learn. And he taught me a little bit more. The first time is where we were is in the book, but it was very holy. He made it holy, considering he was in the Holy of Holies, mine. And then we were in the desert the next time, and the birds overhead, and that's what they started circling overhead, the hawks, calling out. And I was like, no, stop. And hawks have been my power animal ever since. I love birds. But hawk feathers, I found a hawk feather. Back to answering the question about genitalia. Gosh, I mean, everything's different. Like breasts are different shapes and sizes. I'm totally opposed to changing your genitalia. I mean, if you're uncircumcised, aka natural, you're completely 100% lucky. And if you don't like it, you can always get plastic surgery. Like, people will make their vaginas more beautiful, but you want to get real? I'll tell you a real thing or two. A man born with a small dick is cursed, and a woman born with a huge gargantuan vagina is cursed. I didn't curse them. It's just like, how can you possibly get any... So for those people, I would be like, if your partner and you love each other, then get the dildo of your choice and teach that person how to use it. I mean, there's a way for people who love each other to make things work. It's when you don't care, or you're so angry about your own inadequacy that you shut your partner out. So towards the end of my second marriage, so this isn't in the book, this is in like life, you know, my own. I've been around the block, as most of you know. I'm 56. I've been having sex, anyway, I'm not going to go into me, but towards the end of my second marriage, my husband became impotent. But it was only after, one, he used sex as a weapon. He was angry at me, so therefore he's not going to make love to me. And number two, he became fixated on computer porn and was too stupid to erase his history. And that's in a subsequent book. I'm not going to go into it now. It's valuable. It's priceless. I don't want to give it to somebody who might use it in theirs, you know. I'm dishing out some good stuff here. So I said to him, you know, we can work with this. It was ridiculous how small and nothing it was. And that must be embarrassing for a guy. That must be life, like, take all of your feelings about yourself that you ever had that ever were like good feelings, and not only make them go away, but give every inadequacy you could possibly have. It's all about your penis. And that's why I can't make fun of, you know, even though it's funny. In some regards, I will not make fun of penis size. I will say a man's a lousy lover. So my husband at the time, and this was not back, this isn't in the book at all. This is like fast forward to like 10 years ago, 11, 12 years ago. 2009, yeah, 10 years ago. 10 and a half years ago. Ouch, 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 ouch. Oh, he had this addiction and also some head problems. And when he couldn't get it up, it like freaked him out, and it's because he used to shut me out. So towards the end, he was really into me. He got a heart on and all of that. But by then I was done being rebuked, ignored, cold-shouldered, insulted, neglected, chastised. I was done having all that occur in my life, and he was always correcting me. My exit line to him was, I'd rather be imperfect in my own life than perfect in yours. So was all that to make up for his impotency, his cruelty? See, that's where I'm going with it. A man with a small dick ignores the fact that he has a small dick and then treats his lady like shit. From my experience. So, my experience of a guy with a small dick in the past, in my book, was that he was the only one I had met that was so small it wouldn't have done anything. It wouldn't have hit anything, not even the G-spot. But it could have fucked the clitoris. That's the thing. So, a woman and a woman gyrate together and they can actually do that. Why can't a man with a little tiny, like, itsy bitsy, why doesn't he just fuck the woman's clitoris? That's what I would say. But that's what we have to talk about. In our society, we have this whole idea that penis inside vagina is the only way to have sex. Now, I am not saying anything other than what I know to be true between the sexes, because I'm not an expert on gender neutrals or gender anythings. I'm only experienced in gender specific, so I can only speak to my experience. I'm an experienced beer drinker, and towards the end of every beer I burp, and it takes me over 20 minutes to drink a beer, and it's like 21 minutes and 48 seconds right now. I'm almost done. The Kama Sutra, Kama-Sutra. You want to go look at it on your search bar. I would recommend getting the DuckDuckGo search engine rather than Google, because you're not then targeted for ads. So go on there and then put in that. But be aware that the very first page is going to be articles written by people in a magazine. I was looking for the direct text. So as a reference point, you want to look for the direct text and its copies of the text. And then if you really into it, you can buy like a soft copy or whatever of it through that website. So yeah, do that. There are different, levels of women lovers as well, from what I understand. So, all the pressure shouldn't go towards the guys. Men are wired differently than women. It's better for women not to have promiscuous sex. I did not until I was in college. And back to the explanation why was because I saw too many divorced women's lives ruined because they depended on their man to be a husband and a father to their children. And either the father was an alcoholic and wasn't present, or he cheated on them with someone younger and made things difficult for them because they weren't financially secure. So current laws actually take it to the next level because states actually benefit from the amount of garnishment of wages they can get. They get a percentage, just like lawyers. In a personal injury suit, tort law, TORT, they get 33 1/3% of the settlement. So it's their inspiration, if you will, to be total dicks. So I think the biggest dicks, but not in that department, have been lawyers, who might just have the smallest winky. I don't want to end there, though. That was kind of mean. I respect law. I just think that law can screw everybody. But that's off subject. That's off topic. Let's get back on topic. So, I will divulge this. Okay, so when I was doing what I could to make love to the small winky man, that was while I was dating, not the guy in my book, like Girls, but fast forward to like I'm 50 something and I'm looking for a partner to hang out with, and sexual compatibility is really important. It just plain fucking is. Sexual compatibility is important. There, I said it. It's true. For women too. So I was willing to like go a little bit faster if I liked them and they didn't have any STDs, and he passed that test. And I get on top and I'm going to show him how I like it and all of that. And I'm going to do things with my hands. Well, he's like thrusting me, and his pubic hairs are rubbing uncomfortably against my body. And he prides himself, I learned this earlier, of trimming them with scissors. It's like, fuck you, dude. I hardly ever get men like that, but that was one of those times that just now in this video, I realized, what did he read that in his GQ magazine? I'd rather have them be long and soft than, and then maybe you just laying there, than you thrusting into me with your pubes all like cut, like into my body. I mean, I have a lot of like female petals. I'm not an elephant woman, but I've given birth twice. I don't have a tight little peach. I have an open, well, it's not quite as open as a lotus flower, but it's open. It's like, how do you describe it? It opens up. You open up there. It's all that pink beauty, and then there's another petal there. Then there's the first set of, there's like, oh, gosh, I mean, if you're going to have a little one, at least introduce all the parts. Hello, clitoris. Hello, labia. It's like, no. So I tried, but he thrust himself into me, and he's like, bum, 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 done. And then he goes, let's go walking. So that's fast forward to now. But yeah, that was my experience with small dick. It was awful. I wouldn't wish that upon my enemies. And the guy was clueless. And by the time I was going to explain it to him, I actually invited him over for dinner and blah, blah, blah. And I was going to like, listen, this is how I really want to be made to, love to. So first I'm going to show you how, food. Not everybody's at that consciousness level. I mean, I had stronger biceps than he did. Yeah. So, let's put an end to it before it hits the 30-minute mark. I would love for our society to become more cultured in the sexual department. And, take a look at the old texts and recognize 3 different sizes of the men are hare, bull, and horse. 3 different sizes of a female are deer, mare, and elephant. And to self-cultivate, sexually means to eradicate and flush everything you ever saw from porn, everything you ever thought a woman wanted, and also your own selfishness. So good luck with that, okay? Look up the Kama Sutra, and we'll talk some more. Look for me on Patreon, where you get more intimate conversation with me, possibly. I haven't figured out how I'm going to do it. I'd rather not have face-on-face. I'd rather have me talking and having exclusive content or MP3s, so I'm not sure how I'm going to do that. I do have a boyfriend, and it's a fine line. Boyfriend, I'm married to him, but again, on the ethereal, we're energetically married to each other, and we got married on 2019 at 12:12 a.m. during that magical moon. Ciao, everybody. We'll see you soon.